Part 2. The Country of the Saints. Chapter 1. On the Great Alkali Plain. In the central portion of the North American continent lies an arid and repulsive desert. For many years it served as a barrier against the progress of civilization. From the Sierra Nevada to Nebraska, and from the Yellowstone River in the north to the Colorado in the south, it is a region of desolation and silence. Nature takes many forms in this grim district, from snow-capped mountains to dark, gloomy valleys. There are swift rivers rushing through jagged canyons and enormous plains that are white with snow in winter and gray with saline alkali dust in summer. Despite this variety, the common themes remain: barrenness, hostility, and misery. The land of despair has no permanent inhabitants. A band of Pawnee or Blackfeet may occasionally cross it to reach other hunting grounds, but even the bravest warriors are glad to leave these awesome plains behind and return to the prairies. The coyote hides in the scrub, the buzzard circles heavily in the air, and the grizzly bear wanders through dark ravines, scavenging for food among the rocks. These are the only dwellers in this wilderness. Nowhere in the world is there a view more dreary than the one from the northern slope of the Sierra Blanco. As far as the eye can see, the flat plain stretches out, dusted with alkali and dotted with clumps of stunted chaparral bushes. On the distant horizon lies a chain of mountain peaks, their rugged summits flecked with snow. In this vast landscape, there is no sign of life. There is no bird in the steel blue sky, no movement on the dull gray earth. Above all, there is absolute silence, a complete, heart-crushing silence. It would be a mistake to say there is nothing belonging to life on this broad plain. Looking down from the Sierra Blanco, one can see a pathway traced across the desert, winding away into the distance. It is rutted by wheels and trodden down by the feet of many adventurers. Here and there, white objects glisten in the sun against the dull alkali. Upon closer examination, these are bones, some large and coarse, others smaller and more delicate. The former belonged to oxen, the latter to humans. For 1,500 miles, one can trace this ghastly caravan route by the remains of those who fell by the wayside. On May 4th, 1847, a solitary traveler stood looking down on this scene. His appearance was so gaunt, he might have been the very spirit of the region. It was difficult to tell if he was closer to 40 or 60. His face was lean and haggard, his skin like brown parchment stretched tightly over his bones. His long brown hair and beard were flecked with white, and his sunken eyes burned with an unnatural light. The hand that grasped his rifle was as thin as a skeleton's. He leaned on his weapon for support, yet his tall, massive frame suggested a once vigorous constitution. However, on his gaunt face and the way his clothes hung baggily over his shriveled limbs revealed the truth. The man was dying of hunger and thirst. He had struggled down the ravine to this small elevation in the vain hope of finding water. Now, he saw only the salt plain and distant mountains, with no sign of a tree or plant that might indicate moisture. There was no hope in the landscape. Looking north, east, and west, he realized his journey was over. He was about to die on this barren crag. "Why not here, as well as in a feather bed 20 years from now?" he muttered, seating himself in the shelter of a boulder. Before sitting, he set down his rifle and a large bundle tied in a gray shawl. The bundle appeared too heavy for him. As he lowered it, it hit the ground with some force. Instantly, a small moaning cry came from the parcel, and a scared little face with bright brown eyes and dimpled fists emerged. "You hurt me," a childish voice said reproachfully. "Did I?" the man answered regretfully. "I didn't mean to." He unwrapped the shawl and revealed a pretty girl of about 5. Her dainty shoes and smart pink dress with a linen apron showed a mother's care. Though pale and thin, she seemed to have suffered less than the man. "How is it now?" he asked anxiously as she rubbed her golden curls. "Kiss it and make it better," she said with perfect gravity, showing him the injury. "That's what Mother used to do. Where's Mother?" "Mother's gone. You'll see her before long." "Gone, eh?" the girl said. "Funny she didn't say goodbye. She almost always did, even if she was just going to Auntie's for tea. And now she's been away 3 days. It's awfully dry, isn't it? Isn't there any water or food?" "No, there isn't anything, dear. You'll just need to be patient. Put your head against me and you'll feel better. It isn't easy to talk when your lips feel like leather, but I should let you know how things stand. What do you have there?" "Pretty things," the girl cried, holding up fragments of mica. "When we go back home, I'll give them to Brother Bob." "You'll see prettier things than those soon," the man said confidently. "Do you remember when we left the river?" "Oh, yes." "Well, we thought we'd find another river soon, but something went wrong, the compass or the map, and it never appeared. The water ran out except for a little drop for you, and you couldn't wash yourself," she interrupted, staring at his grimy face. "No, nor drink. Mr. Bender was the first to go, then Indian Pete, then Mrs. McGregor, then Johnny Hones, and then dear, your mother." "Then Mother is dead too," the girl cried, burying her face in her apron and sobbing. "Yes, everyone went except you and me. I thought there was a chance for water this way, so I carried you here. It doesn't seem to have helped. There's almost no chance for us now." "Do you mean we are going to die too?" she asked, stopping her sobs. "I suppose that's the truth of it." "Why didn't you say so before?" she said, laughing. "You gave me such a fright. If we die, we'll be with Mother again." "Yes, you will, dear. And you too. I'll tell her how good you've been. I bet she meets us with a big pitcher of water and buckwheat cakes. How long will it be?" "I don't know. Not long." The man looked at the horizon. 3 brown birds, buzzards, were circling above them. They settled on nearby rocks, waiting for the end. "Cocks and hens!" the girl cried, clapping her hands. "Did God make this country?" "Of course he did," her companion replied, startled. "He made Illinois and the Missouri," she continued. "I think someone else made this part. They forgot the water and the trees." "What would you think of saying a prayer?" the man asked. "It isn't night yet," she answered. "It doesn't matter. He won't mind. Say the ones you used to say in the wagon." "Why don't you say some?" "I've forgotten them," he admitted. "I haven't prayed since I was half the height of this gun, but it's never too late. You say them, and I'll join in." They knelt together on the shawl, the innocent child and the hardened adventurer, offering a heartfelt plea to heaven. When the prayer was finished, they sat back in the shadow of the boulder until the child fell asleep against the man's chest. He watched over her for a while, but after 3 days without rest, his own exhaustion took over. Soon, they were both fast asleep. Half an hour later, a dust cloud appeared on the horizon. It grew larger and broader until it was clear it was raised by a great multitude. In this desert, it could not be a herd of bison. As the dust drew nearer, the canvas tops of wagons and armed horsemen appeared. It was a massive caravan, thousands of people, wagons, and livestock stretching across the plain. This was no ordinary group of immigrants. It was a nomadic people seeking a new home. At the head of the column rode 20 stern men in homespun clothes, armed with rifles. They halted at the base of the crag. "The wells are to the right, my brothers," said one clean-shaven man with gray hair. "To the right of the Sierra Blanco, then we shall reach the Rio Grande," said another. "Do not fear for water," cried a third. "He who drew it from the rocks will not abandon his chosen people." "Amen," they responded. Suddenly a young man pointed to the crag above. A small wisp of pink fabric was fluttering against the gray rocks. The men immediately reached for their guns, fearing an ambush. "Redskins!" was the cry. "There can't be many Indians here," said the leader, Elder Stangerson. "We've passed the Pawnee territory." A few young men dismounted and climbed the slope to investigate. They reached the top and stood frozen in astonishment. There, against a boulder, lay a gaunt man and a little girl, both fast asleep. 3 buzzards sat nearby but flew away at the men's approach. The noise woke the sleepers. The man struggled to his feet, staring in disbelief at the thousands of people and animals below. "I must be delirious," he muttered. The rescuers quickly convinced them it was no delusion. They carried the child and the man down to the wagons. "My name is John Ferrier," the man explained. "Me and this little one are all that's left of 21 people. The rest died of thirst and hunger." "Is she your child?" someone asked. "She is now," Ferrier replied defiantly. "I saved her. She's Lucy Ferrier from this day on. But who are you? There are so many of you." "Nearly 10,000, a young man said. "We are the chosen of the angel Moroni." "I have never heard of him," Ferrier said. "Do not jest," the man replied sternly. "We are the Mormons. We have come from Nauvoo, Illinois, seeking a refuge in the heart of the desert." "I see," said Ferrier. "The Mormons. We follow our prophet. You must come before him." They reached a large, ornate wagon pulled by 6 horses. A man about 30 years old, with a massive head and a resolute expression, sat reading a book. This was their leader. "If we take you with us," he said solemnly, "it can only be as believers in our creed. We will have no wolves in our fold. Better that your bones bleach here than that you corrupt the fruit. Will you come on these terms?" "I'll come on any terms," Ferrier said emphatically. "Take him, Brother Stangerson," the leader ordered. "Give them food and drink. Teach him our creed. Forward. On to Zion." "On to Zion," the crowd echoed. The great caravan moved again. The elder led them to his wagon. "You shall remain here," he said. "In a few days you will recover. In the meantime, remember that you belong to our religion. Brigham Young has said it, and he speaks with the voice of God.